I'm Bridget Phetasy, and this is your dumpster fire for the week of October 20th to the 26th.
And the unicorns dance while the world burns, world burns.
World burns.
Don't forget to touch my bells and buttons. Touch my bells and buttons. Please subscribe. Tell one friend about us, and then have that one friend tell another friend about us. And this is how we will create our media cul-de-sac. It's more of a, everyone's like, oh, you have a media empire. I'm like, it's more of a residential neighborhood, not so much an empire. Simmer down. Welcome, followers, new and old. We're back on track. Some of you have just discovered the wonderful world that is the dumpster fire, and we're happy to have you here and look forward to entertaining you because I am your online dancing monkey.
Troll in chief.
Yep.
Donald Trump tweeted, to Tim, the button in the iPhone was far better than the swipe.
What the f***? I love Trump now. At least he's in the blue bubble text gang.
He's not going to turn your group chat green.
No, which is so annoying when that happens. The one person who has an Android comes in.
You're such an iPhone elitist.
I know, I'm glad to know that Trump is in the same cult. At least he's in our cult.
Why does that make you feel better?
Because he has a cult. So it makes me feel somewhat better that he's also in a cult. The Apple cult. I don't know. I find it just kind of a relief. It's like, one of us. One of us. One of us.
Never woke enough. Bed Bath & Beyond pulls blackface pumpkins from the shelves. The jack-o'-lanterns are black and feature white paint for the grin, nose, and eyes.
Why is Bed Bath & Beyond selling Justin Trudeau pumpkins? That seems like a weird flex. Okay, but there's more to this story. This story is insane because basically so many people called about the law firm. They had these out for display. And then the law firm, being shady, just threw Bed Bath & Beyond under the bus. And they were like, the real question is, why is Bed Bath & Beyond selling these?
Oh my God. Such lawyers.
Such lawyers. And you know that this whole blackface pumpkin probably was some people at Bed Bath & Beyond, because now that orange is the color of white supremacy, they were like, you know what? There isn't enough representation in the pumpkins, and we need representation matters. We're going to make different colored pumpkins this year.
And they got their hands burned.
And everyone was clapping and all excited. And they were like, yeah, that's a great idea. And thought they were doing something so woke. And now this happened. And they're all whistling while they just push the pumpkins under the mat, under the rug.
Still, once again, that is historically blackface makeup.
Yeah.
And no one caught it. It always astounds me. The levels of marketing and okays and checks that these things get through in order to be put on the shelves or be put out there. And then all of a sudden they're like, whoa, this is racist.
Well, this is what happens when a bunch of white people are like, representation matters. Am I right, guys? And they don't think to have, maybe a person of color in the room saying yes or no to these things.
Yeah.
Am I right? Other white people who are agreeing with me? These pumpkins look great. You know who it reminds me of? Justin Trudeau. He's a good guy.
Moving on, in Sprained My Eyes, clapping banned at Oxford University to stop people from being triggered.
I get violent about this.
I know.
I'm going to clap all. What if I just start walking around clapping?
Clapping randomly in people's faces.
How are these people making it through a day?
I know, and it was the students. The students voted to replace
Of course it
clapping
was the students.
with jazz hands because it could trigger anxiety.
Jazz hands, left, right, clap first.
Are the best for me.
What kind of babies
Snowflake.
are we f***ing raising that they're never going to survive?
The good news is we're going to be able to defeat these people in the upcoming culture wars just by clapping. They're going to be like,
clap them away.
I can't handle it.
I know.
And by the way, this is what happens when you don't have father figures. Or you have a father figure like the guy from last week who had the fake Bed Bath & Beyond children. No one was like,
Toughen up.
toughen up, snowflakes.
Learn how to deal with things you don't like in the world because
Why does clapping give you anxiety?
It's so crazy. What do you do when you hear a bus? And by the way, okay, I see you're woke, and I'm going to raise you even more woke. Because jazz hands seems like cultural appropriation and ableism. Because not everyone has hands. And jazz originated in New Orleans in the black community. You can't take that, white people, and use it as your clap. What's your comeback now?
Right hand, green.
How do you slow...
I'm going to outwoke the woke.
How do you slow clap with jazz hands?
That's a little too aggressive.
Yeah,
Is it?
Your
I think
flick
you gotta
is too
slow-mo.
aggressive.
Is that like the clap that like Nancy Pelosi did? The flick of that's the Nancy Pelosi, the sarcastic like seal clap.
Uh-huh.
This is the slow clap.
There you go.
That's like right. And then you're like,
Now do aggressive jazz hands.
So aggressive.
yeah, it's so dumb. We live in the dumbest time ever. And get your mind around this. They banned clapping. Banned it. Like, I'm going to end up in the gulag someday for fucking clapping
I know.
by these people.
This is nuts.
Y'all are nuts, and you need to get some backbone. And as Joe Rogan said, mushy. I like that word. It's
Yeah.
better than snowflake.
These woke left dudes are mush. They're mushy. They're made out of mush. Like, come run a hill. You're made out of mush. Do a deadlift.
That was one of
You're
my...
made out of mush.
They're mushy.
Uh-huh.
You're the mushies. The mushies.
It's true.
I'm not going to call them snowflakes anymore because that's too MAGA.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to call them mushies.
The mushies.
The mushies.
The
This is
rise
the independent.
of the mushies.
The word for the people who are weaklings from the politically homeless will be mushies. I am heretofore declaring it on my YouTube channel.
The patriarchy so crafty. Transgender lobby forces sanitary towel maker always to ditch Venus logo from its products.
I don't like this. I don't like it because there's just so much of this kind of erasure of female biology.
Yeah.
And so it's trans men saying that they don't want any reminder of the female biology because they're men now, even though they still need this product. And then trans women will get upset, some, not all, if you talk about your period. It's craziness. And in the middle of all of this, I feel like women are being erased.
They
Which
are.
is why I always joke that it's the patriarchy being so crafty.
They are. And it's like, what the is wrong with the Venus logo?
Yeah.
And then there's Rachel McKinnon, the transgender athlete dominating women's cycling.
I'm sorry. I'm pushing back against this. I realize I will hear it from a very small percentage of loud people, but I think it's bullshit that biologically born men are competing against women. And not only that, not only competing against women, taking their records.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
and
breaking the
taking
female records.
scholarships
Yep.
from women. So women push so hard to even have their own sports.
And these opportunities be recognized in the world of sports as competitors and to be taken seriously as athletes. And now it's being erased.
Yeah. I also think it's fair of parents to want their girls to have a fair shot at all of that. And it's fair of them to be worried about their daughter's safety if you have a trans woman playing on a rugby team against a bunch of girls.
Mm-hmm.
It feels dishonest. It just feels dishonest. Like, you're bigger.
It feels like being gaslit.
We
really
are
does.
being gaslit. And it's craziness.
Uh-huh.
And I think people are getting fed up, though.
I do too.
That's the problem, is that there's certain small minority that's loud. The kind of radical trans activists have conflated people pushing back against this as transphobia. So people are afraid to even push back. And you shouldn't be afraid to say, hey, fairness and equality aren't the same thing.
Uh-huh.
And
It's true. And even on your tweet, there was a trans woman who was like, I'm trans and I think it's bullshit too. I
Yeah.
don't think it should be allowed.
the majority of trans people that I've spoken to or know feel the same way.
Well, I loved the Babylon Bees tweet The motorcyclist who identifies as a bicyclist sets cycling world record.
They're so good. I love the Babylon Bee. If you don't know the Babylon Bee, it's Christian satire, and they're great. They're just doing a bang-up job in 2019 when reality is parody, also known as a Phetasy.
In Florida, a woman sets a person on fire in a Taco Bell and then may have gone on an arson spree, cops say. Mia Williams was born a male, identifies as female, and walks into a Taco Bell, doused a woman with gasoline, and then set them on fire.
Oh my God. What my question is how is this going to be recorded? And how is this considered female on female violence?
Right, because this is just a person who identifies as female, and it has not done any it has not.
No, she has a beard.
It's like, there's no operation.
Put some effort into it. We need to put effort. If you're going to be a woman, you've got to put the same effort into it.
As every other woman.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, it does. It affects the statistics of violence against women.
Yeah, so now there's going to be this huge uptick in female violence or female on female violence, or they'll be like, oh, male on female violence has really gone down and female violence has gone up. It's so weird. I wonder what on earth could have ever. This is crazy. If you feel like this is crazy, you're right. It is crazy. We live in crazy times. And I think people are so scared to speak out against this. And because they'll get deplatformed, which our YouTube channel might disappear after this. But it's don't be afraid to push back. You can still fight for trans rights. Like I've said a million times, I don't care what you want to identify as. That is fine. But when you start trying to say that giving kids hormones at age 7, or you're a bigot, or if you are trying to say males and females aren't different, or you're a bigot, or if you're calling me a bigot because I'm saying these things, well, you are going to get some pushback.
Right.
And you should.
Yeah.
Because you're just being a bully. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But don't force me to believe that males and females aren't different.
Right.
That's insanity.
Right.
Okay. Our BDE award this week goes to Kelly Bachman, a brave young person, I think, who identifies as a woman. She stood up. I don't know.
I believe she identifies as a comedian.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
Neither male nor female. They're their own
They're
gender.
their own gender.
It's true. It's true. She stood up to Harvey Weinstein.
I'm a comic. And it's our job to name the elephant in the room. Do we know what that is?
So yeah, Harvey showed up at this little art thing that was supposed to support young artists. And this female comedian stood up to him.
I didn't know that we have to bring our own maze and rape whistles to Actors Hour.
And started getting booze.
And started getting booze.
No? Oh, shut up. Yeah. This kills at group therapy for rape survivors.
And this is in New York City, which means these guys probably wear scarves and they're probably male feminists online, but all male feminists are creepy. That takes some serious big cojones to do what she did.
Yeah.
She must have been shaking like a leaf. He's a sociopath, clearly. We all know this. He has 80 rape charges against him. Corinne Fisher, my friend, she does the Guys We podcast. She read all of the charges against him quickly on her podcast once, and it took her a half an hour to do so.
Jesus.
Reading them quickly.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And everybody was like, oh, I think it was his manager or his lawyer or some spokesperson for him said, oh, this is what it looks like when you're denied due process. No. Due process means you have a right to a fair trial by a jury. That doesn't mean you have a right to be comfortable when you have the audacity to show your face out in public after you have 80 rape charges against you. And it's just an act of dominance by him.
Right.
It's a f***ed up sociopathic thing to do.
That he expected to be able to go out and be in that room and not have anyone call him out.
Yeah. Tim Dillon said the funniest thing on Twitter. He said, at least we know Harvey's doing so poorly that he's at a comedy show. Kelly, that takes nuts. And I applaud you.
No, give her a real fucking applause. A real one. Damn it.
Clap your hands together, Bridget.
Can you hear the applause roaring from here? Fuck Harvey Weinstein. Fuck that guy forever.
Capitalism always wins. Veterinarians pose nude with animals for calendar. A bunch of veterinary students from the University of Sydney pose nude to raise money for mental health awareness. In the past, the Australian school's calendar has raised almost $68,000 for other charities.
There's so much going on here.
Uh-huh.
It's like so much to unpack because I thought the veterinarians would be raising money for animals.
Right?
You know? And then lo and behold, it's for mental illness. And then I was thinking maybe it's just going back into their pockets because animal rights activists are the most insane people in the entire world. But it sounds like to me just an excuse for a bunch of chicks to get naked with animals. This sounds like some kinky Aussie stuff.
It's weird. It's weird for sure.
What's the market for that? You know? It's men and women too, by the way.
Uh-huh.
In the pictures. It's not just women veterinarians.
Bestiality.
Can I donate and not get the calendar? Can I just donate to mental illness and
you guys have some issues you need to work on here?
Yeah. What is happening?
I don't know.
I think it's just that people want to get naked.
Uh-huh.
I understand that.
Okay, and then there's Kylie Jenner trademarks Rise and Shine.
Rise and shine. Rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
What's really funny about this is that she's trying to trademark all this stuff, which I'm pretty sure it's considered generified.
Yeah.
Isn't rise and shine a term that everyone in the world uses? I don't think that you'd be able to get away with a term like that.
Trump trademarked "You're fired" after the success of The Apprentice, which I thought was bullshit too.
My Gen Z consultant for this show, you know, all these Gen Z kids who were raised online, they see through all this stuff, and Kylie's old now to them. She just thought it was funny because it's so obviously set up. And she said she walked in there and then it was dark and the baby, whatever the baby's name was already... Stormy was already standing up and was awake. And she was like, rise and shine. And Sam was saying, because Sam's worked in reality. So she was like, yeah, it's because they had to go in and set up the entire...
The poor camera guy had to go into the room, set up the shot, turn the lights off, and then just wait for her to come in.
And that's definitely what woke the baby up.
Yeah, that's why Stormy was up when she walked in, not because it's so awkward.
Rise and shine.
It's so
It's
weird.
just so weird.
And now capitalism always wins. That bitch is gonna slap it on t-shirts. She wants to do a whole line.
And they've sold out. The sweatshirts have sold out already.
The Kardashians are your problem. You people need to take care of your problem. She's your problem. You made her.
You're feeding into this. You're giving her all your
I
money.
don't even like to give her attention, but I have to because it's such insanity. I've got to push back against all of the fandom for these lunatics. Absolute lunatics online. Just trying to get attention whatever way they can. Touch my bells and buttons. I hope no children are watching this.
We're living in a South Park. Kanye West has banned North from wearing makeup and crop tops because he feels differently now that he's a Christian.
Is everyone China? What is with all the banning? Get wrecked, China. Kanye.
Well,
happened?
how old is North? She's like 6. How old is she now? Sam
6.
should know. 6. So I wasn't allowed to wear crop tops or makeup when I was 6. My parents would have
banned it.
never let that fly. It was just never an option.
It's only because she's a Kardashian.
I know.
He's like, no crop tops, no makeup, 6-year-old. I don't want you ending up in a sex video online like your mother did.
But also her mom and I guess her aunt.
They all have makeup lines.
makeup lines.
I know. What does he think? What does he think that this child is going to absorb? You're married to a Kardashian. Like, all they do is do their makeup and talk about makeup and clothes. Rise and shine. You should be ashamed of making the Kardashians stars.
How dare you?
Joel Osteen invites Kanye West to Lakewood Sunday service.
Prosperity gospel, of course. Nothing like, of course, Kanye is like being invited by the prosperity gospel. Kanye, who has an invite-only church. What kind of freaking church is invite only. That's the opposite of church. Church is supposed to be inclusive.
For everyone.
Yeah. Especially Christian church. It's supposed to be like, welcome.
We embrace all.
We welcome all kinds. And instead it's like, oh, are you famous? You need to get on the list to get to the gospel church. Kanye's transition from Kanye to evangelical Kanye is really one of the more fascinating things I've seen in my lifetime.
Right?
What a character arc, huh?
Maybe he's crying for help and we're just missing it. He's like stuck in the Kardashians and he's trying to get out and he keeps upping the ante. He keeps pushing.
Have
First it was
someone
the
be
MAGA
like, something's
hat.
really wrong here.
And then like now he's going full evangelical Christian. He's going to be at a mega church soon. And he keeps trying to get booted, but they can't let him go because he has too much dirt on them. And he's crying for help. He's totally being held hostage by them. And we're just all like, Kanye. I'm going to make a like Ferris Bueller type water tower that says save Kanye. Or the other alternative in the simulation is that he is actually the second coming and we're all just laughing at him and mocking him and think he's stupid.
Which is totally
because
what
if
would
Jesus came around now, he would be the schizophrenic on the street that we all walk by and occasionally gave money to.
Uh-huh.
So maybe Kanye is the second coming and we're all just like, oh, Kanye thinks he's Jesus. He actually is Jesus. He's like, no, I really am Jesus. If Kanye dies for his sins, will he take the Kardashians with him?
Dumpster diving.
Oh, we have a new segment, dumpster diving. It's a catch-all for all the random stuff that comes. There are a lot of stories that we just don't have a category for, so now we're going to put them all in dumpster diving.
Which is appropriate. Microsoft wins Pentagon's $10 billion Jedi contract, thwarting Amazon.
This is so funny. Upon us, the tech wars are. I can't do Yoda. Upon us, the tech wars are.
Make your voice a little more gravelly.
Upon us, the tech wars are.
I think that's closer.
That's better. I'm looking forward to living in the Google. It's Google Archipelago. It's going to be funny when countries don't exist and the tech companies are all just, we live in brands. It'll be Apple, probably Amazon, Microsoft, Google. I think those are the big four. And they'll all have like their own police forces and laws. And you'll be like, oh, what brand are you from? And then they'll be like, your accent, it sounds like it's Apple? Am I detecting a little Apple there? And they'll be like, well, my mom was Apple, but my dad was Amazon, and they were persecuted in Microsoft for being together, so they had to move to Google. But if you ask them where they're from in Google, it's a microaggression, and you'll get kicked in, you'll get thrown into the gulag. The gulag.
The Googlag.
The gulag. Oh, God.
A new species of miniature beetle has been named after Greta Thunberg.
Sam said it looked like a cockroach.
She'll show a picture of it.
It looked like a cockroach.
It does look like a cockroach, which is appropriate because they're probably the only thing that will survive the apocalypse.
So great. They did Greta a salad.
I'd be pissed if I was Greta, though. I'd be like, you should be ashamed. Yeah, they should at least name a planet after her, I think. The planet that she can retreat to when Earth...
Fries.
It reminds me of James Cameron. So the aliens returned to their dying planet. Remember when we went and saw it and I was raging.
You were like, you, James Cameron.
I was so mad when I left Avatar. I was like, you, James Cameron. You. I was so mad. Just the ending. How many freaking like Avatar plastic Burger King cups are in the landfill? Just the audacity of that guy. You, James Cameron. I was so mad.
Rudy Giuliani butt dials NBC reporter heard discussing need for cash and trashing Biden's. The problem is we need some money, Giuliani says to an unidentified man during an accidental call to NBC News writer.
Found the boomer. This is such a boomer move. This is the ultimate boomer. This is how you know you're a boomer.
You're dealing with a boomer.
Butt dials anyone
It's
anymore.
really hard to butt dial people these days.
Apparently, he does it all the time.
Really?
There were multiple reporters who had stories of being butt dialed
What kind
by.
of phone does he have?
I don't know.
Do you think this could be why Trump sent that tweet out about the iPhone? He's blaming that for Giuliani's butt dialing?
If there was a button,
Suddenly
Could've
it all
just pressed
clicks
the
the
button.
button.
Starts making sense.
And then in canceled news,
Canceled.
Chris Pratt was called sexist after mocking wife's cooking. Proud of my darling for trying to cook tonight.
Okay. First of all, he's married to Katherine Schwarzenegger, right? Yeah. His wife grew up rich. Of course she doesn't know how to cook. And we all know she had a maid. We all know she had a maid cooking for her. Arnold. So yeah, of course she doesn't know how to freaking cook.
Yeah.
And he's sexist for what? Giving her accolades? I give this relationship 3 years.
I know. Right.
I feel like they're trying to be like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, and no
It's
one's
not
gonna.
quite working
yeah,
out.
it's
Yeah.
like too awkward.
Yeah.
In Phetasy news,
Bridget was on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yes, she was.
Hello, Bridget.
hello, Joe.
What's happening?
Nothing. I'm so
We're here.
excited.
We made it happen.
We did.
Made it real.
Happy
And,
Sober October.
This is the first podcast ever where Marshall is in the room.
Oh my gosh, I feel so honored.
We are honored.
It was so fun. And if you want to hear my check-in about it, you can listen to this week's episode of Walk-Ins Welcome, in which I talk about what it was like and what it was like getting there and the whole shenanigans. So you can go to our podcast, Walk-Ins Welcome. It's this week's episode with Adam Alter. He wrote the book Irresistible. It's all about screen addiction. It's a great book if you want, if you're having problems with screen addiction, unless you're addicted to me on the screen, in which case it's not a problem. We're okay with that. This is a screen addiction I can get behind. Touch my bells and buttons. Tell your friends about us. Spectator USA magazine. Sam took the pictures.
Yes.
I wrote about sex robots. I went to the factory. So if you want to read the article, please subscribe to Spectator USA magazine. I will have a monthly column in there.
And use promo code WALK-IN.
Oh, yeah.
when you sign
Go
up.
to spectator.us/subscribe and use the code WALK-IN. We'll put it on the screen. Spectator USA. Here is the article, The Uncanny Valley of the Dolls, and Sam's handiwork. Great photo.
Thank you.
There were more, but yeah. So I was a voice in a scripted podcast that's dropping soon. Digital Sky. It's cool. I got to play a fun character, and I got to be all the voices of the robots, being like, you have arrived at your destination. And if you want me to do voice work for you, hit me up.
Sam and Maggie are open to voice work as well.
Yes, the whole Phetasy team is open to voice work, because that is the cakest job in this whole goddamn town. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to my patrons at all levels, new and old. You guys make this possible and our podcast possible. If you want to see the uncut version of this, in which Hope is wandering around and we're screaming at her, and the stuff that we leave out for the censors, you can subscribe to my Patreon at the $10 level. You'll get the uncut version every week. Thank you, Better Phetasy, for your research. My parody account on Twitter, follow Better Phetasy. Thank you to all of our subscribers. We're excited to have you. It's going to be a fun journey as we all grow together and gently touch my bells and buttons. This has been your dumpster fire for the week of October 20th to October 26th. I'm Bridget Phetasy. Now make me rich.